So this other auntie came on that free show, I guess, joined the show after he was talking about it, and then somehow she mentioned Stella Damaso. I'm not sure how Stella Damaso's entered the conversation, but it was kind of weird because I didn't get it. Let's keep going.
There is no set age, and I'll tell you why. Our parents got married very early, but the times were different. Now it's 2024. I don't think that we should confine ourselves to societal expectations and prescriptions, right? When I was 20 something, I had a lot of friends who married straight out of college, right? A lot of them are divorced today. Let me give you a prime example. My very good friend Stella Damasos, at 25 years old, she had run the full course of womanhood. At 25 years old, she had been a successful actor, a mother, a wife, a widow, right? 25. She had run the full course that an experienced woman would ever have. She was married to a bordery guy, right? And we know how her husband carried her like egg. But 25, that part of her life was over. Now let's fast forward to, we have actors who got married way later, and they are still.
All right. So what she just said, I don't know what to do. What she said, what she just said. Okay, bringing Stella Damasos into that conversation was completely pointless, especially if her husband passed away and she became a widow. I mean, what is that, like divorce? What is that? She should have not gotten married earlier? What's the point of that? I didn't get it. Right? So, but she has a bunch of friends that all got married and they're now divorced today. I wonder if she's one of those friends. I don't know her full story. I don't know her story at all, actually. I don't know if she's married, ever been married, anything like that. But I wonder, right? Again, the people that are advising you, anybody can advise. Anybody can give good advice. But you also have to use your discernment spirit and consider where they're coming from, right? If they're just coming straight out of anecdotal examples, like for example, she's talking about how just her friends, that's anecdotal. We can't use that as because she's about to tell us that she also has a bunch of friends who married later and they're still married today. Is that if you present that to your professor in school and you make a case for people should get married at 20, what grade would you give that person if you were the professor and they present that to you and say, hey, I have friends, they were married 20, right? And their job, the job is not essay, it's analysis. Their job is not just speech or diction or phone, right? The job is analysis and come up with an analysis that makes sense. And say, I have friends, they were married and their early 20s, they're all divorced today. I have some other friends too that were married later, but let's see what she said.
Married, you know what I mean? So and they are still married, you know what I mean? So I don't think that, it's just unfortunate that in Nigeria.
So she has no friend who were married in their early 20s and still married either. She will have to tell us, because that will be my next, before I give her the D or F for me as a professor, I will ask her, I will give her some grace. I said, do you have any friends who were married in their early 20s and still married? And then I would say, do you have any friends who got married later on and they are now divorced? And I would like to hear her give me the analysis of that as well and give me a conclusion for that.
People are of the opinion that at 30, if you don't get married, or your time don't pass, you're this, that's why you see a lot of people getting married early and getting out of marriages. People who are 20 something, you have no business getting married, in my opinion.
People at 20 something have no business getting married, in her opinion. If she was getting a mark for her opinion, just to give her opinion, just an essay, we will give her a 70 still, because there's a part of it that's not making sense. She will get a C. A 70 in Yankee, okay, when I went to college, is essentially a C or worse, okay, depending on the curve. That took me like shock when I started going to school here. But anyway, she will still get a 70, meaning she will have to struggle. She will end up with a 2.0 in GPA, even for that. And it will be worse if, not to say, not say, na zero she go collect, you go collect. Yeah, the math is not mathing. Because she's trying to apply logic here and it's not logicking.
I was in college. When I was in college, my mother used to tell my sister and I don't want to hear anything about marriage until you hit 30. My mom got married at 19. My father trained her through school. My mom was 19 years old, a first-year student at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, right? And by the time I even had sense in my teenage years, my parents were divorced because my mama can later find out, say, when my dad met her, she was just, a very young girl. He married her, sent her to school. By the time she was out of college, she just felt like, there's more to life. There's more out there. And my mom said something. She told me and my younger sister, when you guys were calling us.
So for her mom is, again, we take it in as part of our friends, anecdotal, personal examples, right? This does not tell us much about, Now, there are studies that obviously show that, you get more maturity, you get more life. But there are also studies that shows how much guards you build up, the more you collect in these dating streets. If you just deliberately, let me just put everything on hold, right? But again, these are not enough reasons to make a declaration that you have no business dating in the 20s. Number one, we know that people are not going to listen to that. They are literally going to date in their 20s. And they will date without saying it with an intention to fall in love, which means at some point they might want to, right? To end up with this person for life. Or they might end up dating for 8, 9, 10 years before they are proposed to. And then you end up in these streets with like, yeah, I was engaged for about 8 years. And people are like, what were you doing? Well, I was in my 20s. And, okay, all right, that kind of makes sense. No, you didn't know it makes sense too. You thought you can put time and life on hold and your age will stop at 22 by itself. And you're dating a person from college, university, right? And somehow your age will just stop right there. And then you end up finish all your master's degree, 2 or 3 of them, plus 1 MBA, right? Our parents gave a lot of advices that really just didn't make sense in the grand scheme of things. It made sense to them. We don't bring that up in 2024 to make a case that doesn't make any sense, right? Our parents also told us that when we know how to argue in a toxic way, somehow we're going to be a better lawyer, right? They also said that. She hasn't told us anything yet. Let's keep going.
Mommy. I was also growing and learning in marriage. So personally, I think there is no prescription. Everyone should follow their path. Unfortunately, we live in Nigeria where people think that at 30, if you're not married as a woman, your time has expired. Nobody has expiring dates. See.
So people will say there's no prescription, do what works for you, but they will go ahead and literally give you a prescription. I said that on the last show, but I didn't say it quite like that. People will say, just do you, but just do you. That statement is a prescription. Let's pay attention. Let's wake up. Soji, right? No, just do what works for you. Oh. But that sentence, if you remove the semantics and the dictionary meanings of it, that sentence becomes a prescription that people literally live by.
Not be juju be that.
When I was 30 and unmarried, I was so frustrated and depressed. That's
what
Nigerian society would do.
Wait, let's go back.
I was so frustrated and depressed. See, when I was 30 and unmarried, I was so frustrated and depressed. That's what Nigerian society would do to you. You go and you go to a friend's wedding, and instead of you to just, celebrate with them and just be there in the moment and appreciate, you will see one sister that will come from nowhere, one mama, one nosy ass woman, auntie from somewhere. Then you are next in Jesus' name. Like, say you get problem.
That's where this is coming from.
Sound like you have a problem.
The pressure.
By 30, you're not married.
Yeah.
So there is no particular age restriction or age prescription for marriage. Yes, female have reproductive organs that after a while is not as viable as when they are young. But there are people who are 23 who have more sense than people who are 35.
Oh, you think? Is she confused or something? Anyway, she just said a whole lot, okay? Bottom line on this segment is that she's coming from a place of all the frustration, all the pressures. Yes, there are some aunties that don't know how to mind their business. That's true. Okay? That is very, very true. However, let's leave all the aunties out. Let's talk about this topic. Right? the topic or the headline is now about cruise. It's about baits, right? Because what the Daddy Freeze puts in the title, Nollywood actress Stella Damasus was already a widow by 25. No set age for marriage. Okay, no set age for marriage. That statement becomes a prescription. You cannot say there's no prescription and then give prescription at the same time. Okay, you can't be all loud about there's no prescription and not realizing that you are literally giving a prescription when it comes to this particular topic of marriage and relationships. We need to calm down. Okay, some people might even want to call this woke. I won't call it woke because it's not woke. It's dead. It's a dead advice actually, because it can't. There's no case for it. Because now she just used her own mouth to say there are some 23-year-old people that have more sense than 35. So why are you creating 30 years old as a mark? Indirectly, I get it. There's no age for it. There's no age limit. So we should just put on hold every other factors of life for an average person's. Forget the body biologically, even mindset-wise. The fact that there's a bell curve. As much as you're growing in maturity, if you don't align with society around, shame will catch on and actually decapitate you. She just said it. You start to get depressed because we live in a society, and no matter how much you want to tell yourself that you don't want to live according to society, you are still living in a society. Should you now conform to everything society? No, I think you should gather sense and not just push against societal values or ideologies with a blindfold on, because that's not going to work. You just hurt yourself in that process, because the same you're a function of the society you were raised on, and unfortunately you might just get depressed, right? Now, should anybody get depressed? No, I don't think so, but I don't think it's me telling them that will make them not depressed. Like I told you, it's not even about the 20 or 21 or 22. It's about wherever you find yourself in life. Please, there's something you can do to achieve the results you're looking for. In relationships and marriage, none of it is going to align with just do you. You need to pay attention that there are actual skills, knowledge, and wisdom that create those results that you love so dearly that you would like to achieve. So being a coconut and saying I'm just going to do whatever, it's not going to help. Or I'm just going to put everything on hold, and magically at the age of 36, now she just says 35. So indirectly, let's just look at 36, because there are people that will come to say, so, okay, so what do you think about 36 then? There are people that will, if they don't say it out loud, they're thinking, okay, she said some people don't have sense at 35. By 36, I should have sense. And some people are like, no, I'm not going to worry about it. It's not about worrying about it. It's just being intentional about your own life. And not throwing your hands in the air and say it's whatever. That thing is not going to work. It's actually going to get worse. That depression is going to get worse if you don't gather yourself, because now you're pretending that you're not concerned about what society thinks, but you are ultimately. My cousin's wife told me during my twin sister wedding that I was being picky, and that is why I'm single. I told her if she wasn't pregnant, my cousin wouldn't have married her. She got upset and refused to come to my wedding and gave me a film. Jesus Christ. That's some crazy stuff. So people hold on to stuff like that, right? Let's keep going. The reality is that we are affected by our surroundings, okay? And as much as I don't want you to just conform, have your own path, let's make sure we understand the context when we say that, and not just don't wrap that up on everything. Right? There are times, you know, social intelligence literally means you have to pay attention to your surrounding, read the room. You don't just walk up into a room anyhow because somebody said do you. You don't do that, right? So there are contexts where we have to like slow down with that do you thing. Like, I want you to do you, I want you to be yourself, but I also want it to be backed by confidence, sustainable confidence, okay? And that is a function of knowledge, wisdom, practicing, results, right? If you lie to yourself and you don't have the result, there's only so far you can go. right? And some things you can control, some things you can't control. So we're talking about things you can control, which is more than enough for you to gather some confidence so that you can actually move like a confident person. In which case, other people want to do life with you because confidence is sexy. So now, if all of this is happening at 21, 22, 23, 24, you're just going to be like, switch. Uncle Freeze said, don't do it until 30. Let's just quickus. And you're just free. You're just walking through life. Is that how that works? Yeah, emotions not be your mate.
There are women who are 28, got married, are happy till this day, and they've clocked in like more than 17 years of marriage. I know these people. We still have baddies that you see all over Instagram that even in approaching 40, they're talking about, if a man does not buy me wig, he's not the man. So like I was saying, it's a mental thing, and nobody should. I just wish that especially people in Nigeria can really stand on what they believe and not let all those years and years of programming to affect them to where we have a lot of people depressed today. Because look at the economy for one. The economy plays a very significant role in people not wanting to be married, because most of the people who are of, in quote, marriageable age in Nigeria are can't even support themselves, not to talk of supporting a spouse. The way the economy is going. So are you going to force two people to get married when they are not physically, when they are not, one, mentally prepared?
All right, so why are we talking about forcing people to be married? Okay, people that don't want to be married are not part of this conversation. They are free, literally. People that don't want to be married are not part of this conversation, unless they just want to chime in and have an opinion, which is fine. But in terms of talking about them, no, they're not the subjects in this topic. We're talking about those that want to marry, those that get depressed when they are not married. You're depressed not just because of the auntie. That's because it's touching the nerve, because you're a part of our society, and indirectly, subconsciously, you're measuring yourself around against people around you. Should you pressurize yourself? No. I'm just saying that answer is not going to solve the problem either. Consoling yourself with, or try to talk down, because you are still people that did it earlier or that did it at 23, 24, you are still talking them down. You're basically saying they made the wrong decision. Some of them just did it yesterday. They hear what you just said, and they argue with their husband yesterday. Now they think their life is doomed, and they will now reflect and push this energy out, and it gets worse for them because they listen to somebody that said, you shouldn't do it at 23, 24. And then somehow in that, she dropped a magical number, even though there's no prescription or set age. She said 28. Did you notice that when she said 28 just now? Because the way she said is that there are people that did it at 28 and they are still doing okay, right? And there are still people in their 35, 40, and somehow she pushed that in, and they're talking about baddies. I'm like, wait, what? Baddies? What does it have to do with anything?
Financially prepared. You understand what I'm saying? Because finances play a significant role in the success of a marriage. That's the God honest truth.
Finances, the role that finances play in the success of a marriage is security. It's not the finance itself. There's something else that the finance creates. Whenever they say it like that, they're saying the more money you make, that the more happy you're going to be. I mean, we just covered the Auntie Alakija's story the other day. It could make sense now. It doesn't make sense. Like, you look around you, that doesn't make any sense. Why you keep repeating stuff that doesn't make any sense? Bill Gates is divorced. Dangote is divorced. Jeff Bezos is divorced. Right? Money has nothing to do with this stuff. Now, she did say his mentor, but then she runs right over that, right? No, let's go back to the mentor. Emotional security. Yes, can lack of money and the stress that lack of money can bring is more of a factor here than the money itself. And there are many people that knows how to overcompensate for that, because no condition is permanent. They might find themselves in a financial funk temporarily if they're able to. If a man is able to overcompensate and make the family feel secure, feelings in that temporary period, not only is he going to get rich again, not rich but well off, take care of his family, he's going to be able to keep things together while they're going through such a temporary period, which can come to anybody at any phase in life, regardless of what age you are in. As a matter of fact, it comes much more later than in the 20s. That's where it hurts more, right? Because you figure it all out. You made all these 6 figures, and then in the 30s you make some wrong moves. All the money is gone, and then you have to figure things out, right? If it's that easy to just get in trouble, I mean, families will get in trouble all the time. So again, they're choosing and picking when to make this point out of nowhere to say just don't do anything at 20. First point, reality is that people will quickness and do what they have to do and get together romantically in their 20s. Because why? They are balaga enough to do that. They are matured enough to do that. They are attracted to people that want to play romance with. It's just, even inside church, they will do it. So giving them a solution that's not sustainable is just outright useless. You're telling them to wait around and collect bodies. Some of them is spiritual bodies, right? And then somehow magically they're already at 30. Could make sense. Oh, there's no number to it, but let me drop little 28. Let me drop 30. And then let me caveat it with 45 that are bodies so that it doesn't look like I'm saying there's a number. The reality is that time is not your mate. Stop asking people to deliberately wait in efforts to make people that are, for some circumstance or reason, they are single. That's a different scenario. Today is their best day to make better decisions, if that's needed, or to continue to take care of themselves. We don't have to mix the two together. If somebody is 47 and single is just circumstances, that is not a reason to tell a 22-year-old person to just wait until 30. If somebody had married at 19 and they are now unfortunately divorced at 41, that is not a reason to tell a 22-year-old man to float through life and collect bodies and think that the good result is going to come out of that. No, it won't. This is the point where you apply everybody's path, not the other way around. You went through your own path, you learned your own lessons. Today, at the age of 42, is your day. That is your 20. Don't wait until you start making better decisions or engage wise counsel and say, I can make the rest of my life is ahead of me. It's never too late. But please don't go back and be telling 21-year-old people that it's okay to just be collecting bodies in the name of have fun. And the fun they can have is meaningful connection. Meaningful connection, a sense of security, real life skills such as crisis and conflict handling, which will happen at any phase in life. Anyway, I want to keep it to 1 hour exactly. So let me give you, she's going to say the same gibberish over and over again, just trying to justify nothing that really doesn't exist. She's just projecting. Just like Daddy Freeze is also projecting in this respect. This is something I fundamentally disagree with him on. Okay? We can't run around the street advising people to put life on hold. It's literally impossible. It's literally impossible. The only thing that will happen is that they will end up hurting each other. And you know, hurt people, it goes viral. And then you have what you call, oh, the dating scene is a cesspool. Before. Before, right? So anyway,